We played a lot of great games in July for our August vlog. Near the end of August, again, we have it really late in the month. What's going on, Tarrant?
I mean, Gen Con was going on early in the month, right? So
That's actually correct.
Has distracted us from our true purpose of telling you what our top games for the month were.
A good distraction it is. And hello everyone, I'm Stella.
And I'm Tarrant.
From Meeple University. And again, welcome to our August vlog where we talk about our top games of the month in July and a few other bits and pieces. As usual, we're going to share you one at a time, sort of, what we played last month and the highlight of the month. And these games are coming from multiple different sources.
Yes, and they are new to us, so not necessarily new to the world in July.
Yeah.
I can see one among there that is from last year.
Yeah, it's new to us, and these games are review copies or paid content, but this video is completely our own opinion. And Tarrant is hogging the electric blanket. It's very cold here in Australia. It's getting warmer, but let me get some of the blankets.
Yes, we did. We had that typical... We had the little peaks of spring this week, which you sometimes get in Melbourne in August, and then you get immediately smacked down with 6 more weeks of winter sort of thing, as soon as you get the little hint.
Exactly, which is just enough to cause a little bit of runny nose and blockages in the nose. So I was trying to blame Gen Con. Okay, I get sick from Gen Con. But no, I didn't actually get sick from Gen Con. But I get sick from Australia again.
Yes, we are the hay fever capital of the world here in Melbourne. A lot of ryegrass out to the west is what I'm told is the problem.
Well, speaking about that, but hey, if you are okay with that, or you can take Telfast or any hay fever tablet, come to Melbourne and visit us. This is not a good advertisement for asking you to come to Melbourne, but it's a great city.
Not our job.
No, all right. Let's get to it, Tarrant.
My number 5 for the month is the new word game, Landmarks from Falcke Games. This is a word joining game. It's a meaning joining game. Similar to, there are many games like that out there, code names, cross clues, things like that. This one takes a different approach in that one person is trying to lead other players around the board by giving clues which go on hexes. And if you want to direct someone to a hex that joins next to 2 certain words, you want to give a word that links them. If you want them to place something down on a space which only adjoins 1 tile, then you want to give a clue that specifically is only for that word. And so it's got an interesting element to it there. There is a cooperative mode and a competitive mode to the game. And I think the competitive one works. It's a little bit more fun, I think. A few more things going on in the competitive mode.
Team versus team.
Yep. And you are trying to guide around the island, avoid the traps, avoid the curses, find the treasures, things like that.
I feel like when there is the team versus team, if you like competitive and cooperative, you have the best of both worlds in that team versus team. Like, you're part of a team, you can discuss things, everything's not on your shoulder, you share the duty, the burden with other people in the team, but you're also competing with other people in a different team. So I really love the competitive mode of Landmarks as well. Not that I do better than you. I'm not doing that well in this game, all right? But it's fun.
It can be tricky, but it's fun.
Yes. My number 5, this is the clue. It's a prototype game. I don't know, the music could be anything. Prototype game that was recently on Kickstarter, Luthia. So we had to ship the prototype to the next content creator, which is I'm totally fine about. But I still have this one that I got from Amazon as part of my short and sweet video. By the way, if we have other videos, please check the description in the video. We'll link there for you to see if you are interested in certain things. So Luthia is a Euro game. Tarrant will be able to give you an overview of the game, but what I most like about it is simultaneous action selection where you put your worker in different worker placement space, sort of worker placement, but secretly. It's not bidding, but if you have the higher or stronger worker and you get to do the actions first to get better cards or cheaper actions and so on.
Yeah, it forces some of those... It's almost like a little bit of an older Euro in that way. It really forces you to give up your best workers to do the actions that you think are most valuable, or to try to hedge against whether you think someone else is going to go big in that area, because you'll have starts with 3, ends up being 5 workers. They have different values, and you put them face down and then reveal them all at once.
Very, very great game. And the reason I got Tarrant to I volunteered Tarrant to explain the game is because recently I was at Gen Con and everyone was like, okay, the queen of how to play. I'm like, hang on. I'm just me. Tarrant is the king. It doesn't make me a queen of how to play. So I was like, okay, well, Tarrant just does a really great job of explaining an overview how to play certain games. I did one in my Meeple University live, one feeble how to play video, which I have actually hidden because it was really bad.
And I think the dryer was on.
The
in the
dryer was
background.
on in the background.
It was
That
about
was
6
horrendous.
videos into our time, and we
Yeah, I was like so upset. I was like, nah, just hide it
we're
recently.
learning.
It's learning, yeah. Well, you're gonna have to start somewhere, all right?
My number 4 for the month is Archaeologics. This is a game which came out late last year. It's a nice little logic puzzle deduction game. You have, essentially you're trying to fit 6 of these little Tetris or Tetris pieces onto a grid. And you're trying to work out where they go. And you can do that by asking questions of this wheel. So you've got a number of answer keys, and you'll be trying to ask questions of it. And you'll be asking things like, in a certain column, how many pieces are there, or which traps are there, because there's these pieces here that have different colours, and so you can be specific about where those are. Or you can ask about a certain shape, and it will tell you which symbols from that shape are in a certain row or column. The gameplay is using a time track mechanism. So you'll zip round and round this board, and the value of the question you ask will be worth more steps. And you're also forced into choosing the row or column that the tracking marker is on. And you can pay extra time to go to the row or column that you want. So it puts you in that nice position that a logic puzzle game does, where it costs you a little bit more to get better information, and you have to work out what info works for you. So that's something that Search for Planet X and the series of games that's followed that did quite well. This one is probably a slightly easier and quicker entry point, but quite a nice little game in the style.
Quite enjoy it, although I have issue with rotating spatially, but this is not that bad. You can just always try to put the pieces on your board, and I found that it's very balanced. They are, because with the time track mechanic, so the stronger the action is, the more you actually go on ahead. That means that your opponents get more turns. But that seems to be balanced, because then I was at one point I was doing just cheaper actions and getting little bits of information at a time while you're doing the big actions.
I was doing some big cost actions to try to sort of hunt and peck some big pieces and then build them around. And we ended up finishing basically on the same turn.
Yeah, but Tarrant always better with logic puzzle deduction. And then the fact that we almost finished at the same turn, get the answer that's amazing. I like this game. No, it's not because I almost win, but it's a fun logic puzzle deduction, this one, and it's quite different than the others. Sitting at number 4 is Minos, Dawn of the Bronze Age. This is by Board and Dice, and this is a Euro game that I believe is going to be released in Essen. This is a fun dice drafting, where you draft the dice and you put in the action. Remember I said earlier in the video, rewind, Tarrant's a better explanation. I'm going to attempt to it anyway. So you drop the dice, put an action, and the higher the dice, you get some benefit, but then the lower the dice, most likely, you get the earlier action, which is more powerful. So once everyone's finished, and then you do the action.
Yes, it uses the kind of thing that Coimbra used, where you'll take a die, put it into a container of your colour, and then resolve based on where you've placed the sequence and so on.
Yeah, it's a very fun game. That is the thing that I love about it. And then it's about civilization. I love the theme as well. Minoans are the extinct civilization. It was there somewhere. They were proof, but then no one knows what happened with them. So there were talks about the earthquake, there were talks about volcano eruption, but hey, you don't know what happened.
Yep. This game has a big card play and tableau building elements, so you're going to be getting you'll be playing a lot of cards that will give you different actions, and you can combo quite big turns together.
That's what I like about it, the combo. So, so many things that you can chain together in your action, and you can build your tableau of cards, which actually, when you actually take the cards to the action, sorry, take the dice to the action, and then you will eventually activate those cards in your tableau. Very great mechanics, and the actions also, I think it's more interesting than Coimbra.
And we share a number 3 this month, and that shared number that shared number 3 is Rock Hard 1977. So this is a worker placement game based around becoming a rock star in the late 70s. It very much falls into that light thematic worker placement style of things. It does have a little twist, so each round you're going to take a day action, a night action, and an after hours action, so it gives you that little thing that you've got to plan for. But it gives me that memory that kind of like a Santa's Workshop did when that came out last year. It's like it does nothing particularly new with the worker placement genre, but what it does is it fits in its theme and does it in a really nice, light, fun way.
I really love the theme, and yes, Tarrant's right. So, for example, you starting off having a side job like a waitress or anything like casual jobs, but then as you move towards or progress towards your music career, then you started to miss your job, and then eventually you get fired, and that's okay because you started earning through your music career. That was really fun. And the appearance of candies is actually great. Tarrant has got a how to play video where he plays around with that idea of candies.
Yes, there's you can use candy in the game, and it will give you a chance of having an extra boost. But then if you use too much of it, you will crash the following day
and hangover.
Have a bit of a sugar hangover, sugar crash in the morning.
It could be like coffee. No, not coffee. Yeah.
No, it's really clever the way it does it. The after hours part of the game has a lot of like rock star anecdotes.
Oh yeah.
And the game was designed by Jackie Fox, who was a rock star back in the late 70s and a Jeopardy champion in the early 2000s. So.
Amazing. Well, I had the honor of meeting Jackie at Gen Con 2024. I'm like, you're a celebrity, and I had a selfie with you. I was like, I'm a fangirl. Every time I go to a Gen Con, I'm a fangirl like this. Someone like Jackie, they are designers that I'm just admiring so much, which we are going to Essen soon. So just get ready for me to like, Tarrant, look, Alexander Thesta. Oh, Tarrant, look, David Turchi. Oh, look there. Oh, we're going to see David Turchi earlier than that, probably.
Expect a lot of shaking, in other words.
Yeah, I was like, I can't help it, all right? Like, if I see Ryan Reynolds, I would do the same. I would probably like come up and then without shame. And I was like, I don't know what I'll do. We'll see what I'll do. But like same story with game designers. For me, they are the great celebrities that I would totally be always a fan.
It's not typically how it works.
Actually, no, it's not. And you're not a vampire, and this is Staked.
Staked. So my number 2 game for the month is Staked. This is a prototype which is either on or soon going to crowdfunding. And quite atypically for me, it's a social deduction game.
Exactly.
It's a pure social deduction game. I've had a lot of fun playing this, and it kind of fits halfway in between the Avalon and Werewolf molds, I think. So there's voting and sort of it's revealed voting, but there's a lot of voting for who's going to get eliminated and who's going to be elevated to a position of power, which is very werewolfy in style. But it's your 5 to 10 people around a table, hidden roles type of thing, which is quite Avalon-y.
There's also a little bit of blood on the clock tower where if you get eliminated or get killed, you still have say in the game.
Yeah, so there's a more that's probably what I like the most is there's a more extensive post-mortem element to the game where you become a ghost and the ghosts continue and vote to protect somebody every round, and they can still get involved in conversations. So we've seen games where the conversation is just as aggressive at the end of the game. And it's kind of like you've got 3 living players and all the ghosts around them shouting. So the game is you've got vampires who are small in number, know who the other vampires are. You've got hunters who are large in number but in the dark. and they're trying to work out who the other ones are and eliminate each other. And there is a twist where there's a vampire lord where if you do an investigation action on them and you get to see their card, then you get flipped to the other side.
Yes, I was
Van Stelsing.
Van
was the
Stelsing.
character we,
Adriana Van Stelsing. You gave me that character name
yes.
in one of my other videos that is not yet published. So, yeah, yet to come. So it was a fun game. Social deduction is totally, usually not Tarrant's idea of playing games, but the fact that he put it here in number 2 of the month, that says a lot. So I found it really fun as well. Yeah. It's just, the other thing is with social deduction, I just cannot be the bad guys. Like 2 10s in a row, like I'm the bad guy. So like that's it. Let's just play next time. I just like, my heart's just pumping. I just cannot lie like that. It's horrible, but it's fun.
I think the thing for me that works with it is there's a little bit of... Avalon always had not enough information for me. So there's a little bit more open information in this one, so you're responding to some things that are going on. But it's not as... Yeah, you're not put on the spot as much as you are in those other games. So also it's a good balance.
Also like that Night of the Ninja one.
Yes.
Yeah, that was also a good one. Number 2 for me is Windmill Valley, also by Board and Dice. They've been bringing great games this year. Windmill Valley set in Netherlands, which is nothing to do with the fact that we are going to Netherlands to hopefully see these things, although without the tulips growing.
Yeah, wrong time of the year. But,
before Essen.
See some windmills.
I know. Nothing to do with that, but the satisfying bit is the engine building. Like, I love my engine building for sure. This is where you are tulip farmers and then you are trying to build it on your tableau, the upgrades for your board. And the upgrade is on your 2 windmill gears, which actually is, you can do one, or later on after you upgrade, you can do both. And the 2 gears, one's bigger and one's smaller. So you don't always line up like the same time every year. It's a bit of a variety.
Yep. Yeah, the game is, I guess the core of the game is the action selection is these 2 gears that you rotate on your board, and rotating it further can cost you more, and there's a little bit of interaction with how much you turn them, and then those gears will drive your actions. So you're managing your own action wheel and then doing a number of typical Euro interaction level things out on the board. Putting windmills down to create paths and get bonuses, moving things around the market, and so on.
There's also that part where you alluded to it a little bit, where you can, to a certain degree, influence how fast the wheel will turn. And you can always spend tools to make it slower and make it faster. So that bit is, as long as you have some tools, it'll be fine. It's not, I feel like that bit is not, I don't know, it's not like affecting anyone that much. To a certain degree, yes, but not as much as like make things really hard. So I don't mind that at all. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do that will destroy the next player's turn, but there is something that might make it a little bit less efficient, cost a little bit more money, which I suppose if they don't have money in hand could destroray it, but there's ways to hedge it.
Yeah, very beautiful game and very satisfying building the engine of your windmill. That's Windmill Valley, and hopefully I will get to see that soon. Luthier is back.
Luthier is back. So my number 1 for the month is Luthier. It is, I say, it has that older Euro feel, and I do kind of like the older Euro. We say this a lot. I like the older Euros where there's a bit more interaction than some of the more recent ones, and I also kind of like when the actions, I don't like giant action combos. So this one kind of works for me where the critical elements of the game are in picking the right action with the right strength worker at the right time so that you get the things you want. And that's really the core of it. There's also the other timing element of the game that works well is there's an orchestra pit where as you build instruments, complete instruments and so on, you'll be putting your pieces down in this orchestra, which has a multi-dimensional placement. So some things will let you place in certain rows, some place in certain columns. But at the end of the game, there's points for majorities having the most important seat in each of those areas and things like that. So that keeps it tight and interactive, which I like.
I mean, I ain't Mozart, but I love, like, just Mozart character. There's, I'm not I mean, I'm not a musical composer, but I really enjoy playing music as well. I haven't mentioned this, so it's kind of like, oh, it's musical. Although I probably only play like 2 different music instruments. But then you got to be a genius to play multiple instruments.
To play multiple, well,
Yeah.
to play them by sound and so on.
Yeah.
One other thing this game does, which I suppose we're going to start calling it the Arc Nova goal mechanism. It's probably been very much popularized by that, but it has goals that really want to drive your game, where you take pieces off your board and put them onto the goals, and that unlocks something pretty valuable on your board as well.
Oh, yeah, I love
And
that.
if you're not getting those little upgrades, it's going to really hold you back. So it's kind of a race for those early objectives where, again, you can get there quickly and cheaply by not having that many of the objective. It's like the 2 slot on your Arc Nova cards, or you can wait till later and get more points. So I think we're going to see a lot more of that in games going forward, because it is quite a good mechanism that, I'm not going to say that Arc Nova created it, because I'm not sure,
Yeah.
but it definitely popularized it.
Definitely a few. And then in a 2-player game as well, it's like a blockage, like a third AI player, I shouldn't say AI, a robot player cube.
It's just pre-blocked.
The pre-block, yes.
So there we go.
My numero uno is, aka number 1, is Rebel Princess. What I have here is the deluxe, aka second edition, the deluxe second edition from Jahja Games. Original was published by Zombie Paya, which I picked up from Essenspiel, which I didn't actually get around to play it until later. I know. It's like, what? You haven't played? When I get around to play it, I played it with a bunch of people at PlayCon in Sydney, which is a board game convention. And they was like, what? You had it from Essen, you haven't played it? Yeah, I'm sorry. So finally, glad that I had a chance to play it. I play it in different play accounts, and it is great. It's a trick-taking game. Looking back, myself, a few years ago before the crew, I would probably not pick this up as my favorite games, because I don't know how to play trick-taking game. Thanks to the crew and Tarrant, who passionately taught me how to play trick-taking games, I started enjoying playing trick-taking games. So I love the theme where you are a rebel princess. You're a princess, but you are a rebel, and you don't want to marry the Prince Charming. Like, how cool is that, right? And you are trying not to win certain suits, which is the princess.
Yes.
Yeah, so that is a certain strategy that you need. And then there's also this round card, start of round card, which changed the rules a little bit, which kind of like mind-bending a little bit, but it's fun. Not mind-bending, but oh my god, I forgot about it. Oh yeah, you have to do this now. All right, not win this, win this. Okay, the lowest trick will win the trick, not the highest, and things like that.
Yeah, it's a very accessible game. It is very much a derivative of Hearts, which I think a lot of people would have grown up playing on their computers, because you're trying to avoid the princes, which were the Hearts. There's also a representation of the Queen of Spades from that game, which is the 8 of animals, and it's a frog prince who gives a whole lot more proposals. So it starts with that base, but then it adds player powers, special round events, and all those sorts of fun things.
So regardless of which edition you have, we have the tutorial video which encompasses both editions. So, and Tarrant? Marry me?
Already.
Okay, yeah, well, it didn't work. But I also have the promo card, which is another princess. And the princess is you because it has got mirror on it.
Yeah, you can see our camera.
Yeah, yeah. See? No, it's blurry.
Blurry.
Yeah, well, this is a reflection. It's called reflection. So that's the promo princess. And that is all. That's all our top games. Next one, we'll probably do it just before Essen, before we see you at Essen. So really excited for Essen. Let us know if you are going there. And please let us know what you've been up to. What are the highlights of the month? What games you've been playing recently? And have a great day. Thanks for watching. Bye.